Hello and welcome back to EastEnders Weekly, your weekly podcast that's celebrating birthdays of EastEnders and podcasts.
I believe you're indicating that it's our first anniversary.
It is.
Or has been our first
and
anniversary.
Also EastEnders' birthday this week.
Their 34th anniversary.
The big one next year.
The
big 35th.
I mean, 35th isn't really a big one.
Yeah, but every 5 years is a big one.
It's just an excuse for them to put on a live show or something, isn't it?
Elaborate show.
I mean, 40 is bigger.
Oh, just imagine what 40 is going to be like.
Well, imagine what 50 is going to be like. Our minds will be blown.
Will John York be back?
Probably.
So it was the birthday of EastEnders, which we also love celebrating. So I thought I'll put it out there into the atmosphere that I wanted to know everyone's first memories of EastEnders.
So putting it out there in the atmosphere?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
In the stratosphere, then.
The universe.
Yeah.
I think is the word you're looking for.
Putting it everywhere.
I know you do. Ooh. That's the problem.
It's all up everywhere. So I want to know everyone's first memories of their show, watching the show. So we have quite a few. We're going to read some out now, and then we'll read some out later on in the show as well.
We did. We posted this on our Facebook group, our Twitter, and all the social medias you can find us
and
on.
Reddit.
Oh, and Reddit as well, yes.
So, right, we have Emma Ray. She says, my earliest memory is sitting in the living room whilst my mum made pancakes in the kitchen and seeing a man. I now know he was Reg Cox, sitting dead in his room. Great parenting, my mother. I was only 5.
Well, she was making you a hearty breakfast ready for your day. I mean,
getting her ready for the gritty London life.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I imagine if it's pancakes. Is she American? Was Emma? Or was brought up in America?
I think wasn't it Pancake Day?
No,
not in February.
No, Pancake Day is normally the end of
February. I
February.
vaguely remember someone saying something about
year.
Pancake Day in one of these comments, though.
Oh, so really?
See, maybe in America, when it showed in America, it was Pancake Day.
Every day's Pancake Day in America. That's why I want to live there. I have one too from our Facebook group. It's from Andy Hercules Einstein Rod. Fantastic name, Andy. You won't mind if I just call you Andy. He said, Reg Cox being found, the start of a lifetime relationship. Not with Reg Cox, but with the programme.
I mean, it's 2 early ones, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing wrong with having a relationship with Reg Cox if you like that kind of thing.
Well, if you watch Civvy Street like I do, you'll know that Reg Cox is all right fella. He'll help catch your hens if they go missing on Wolford.
What? Hens?
Chickens. There was a turkey that went missing.
Well, no, I'm just confused why you would have...
Civvy Street was... Yeah. It was about Lou Bill and Ethel when they were younger. It was Christmas Eve. And Lou Bill had a live turkey ready to strangle to then feed the kids.
Oh, right.
But he escaped from the hutch and was running around the square, and Reg Cox helped pick him up and catch him again. But the kids got too attached, so Lou didn't kill the chicken.
the turkey.
Yeah.
The turkey.
But it laid an egg, so they had an egg. Because they're all on rations.
They had an egg for Christmas dinner.
And some chocolate. She swapped the egg. I think she swapped the egg with Reg Cox to get some chocolate for the kids' stockings. Because they're all on rations.
And they said red water was bad.
It's really good.
It's
Civvy Street's really good.
Sounds fun.
Just one more quick one. We have Hannah DBNO. She says, my mum watched it in the 90s when I was very young. So I remember bits and pieces from them, but I first started watching properly around about when the Slaters were introduced in 2000 at the grand old age of 6. So lots of people starting very young.
I mean, we're catching up with the classics now because they're being repeated. And as always, stay tuned because we'll be talking about Classic EastEnders. It is back this week.
We will.
So we'll be enjoying that again. Oh, by the way, I'm Alex.
You are? I'm Ben, the alleged host. And we are discussing EastEnders, as usual. And we're discussing the episodes that were broadcast between the 19th of February, happy birthday, to the 22nd of February.
Yes.
How fun was that to see Lofty and Punk Mary this week?
It was amazing, yes.
We had hyped this up quite a lot. Didn't disappoint.
No, we got very excited, didn't we? I think I've not properly re-listened to last week's episode, but
I have.
Have you? I think we were giddy with excitement.
Oh, you mean our episode?
Yes.
I thought you meant the Punk Mary episode.
Well, no, you've watched that 3 times now.
Well, I just watched their scenes, as in a little. It's like a mini 5-minute episode.
It's like watching the Lofty and Mary scenes.
It's like a BBC 3 online episode then, 5 minutes.
Oh, right.
All the scenes seem together.
Okay.
So, should we talk about that then? Dr. Leg's funeral. So we opened up the week on the birthday episode with Dr. Leg's funeral. Dot's not feeling very well though.
No, yes, she made her excuses not to be able to go, and so Sonia had to look after the reins of the funeral plan for that day. June Brown is quite elderly, and I don't think she could have done the filming outside of perhaps the studio.
No, it
lot.
doesn't look like she does location filming anymore. Although she did a bit of location filming last year when she went to go to Dr. Leg's house.
That's true, but that was
happier times.
That was a happier
there was
time.
milk involved.
Also, it probably wasn't so much standing up, and they had that table kind of weirdly positioned in front of them, so it looked like they could have been anywhere really. It was just that they were sat in front of a table in a random room.
That's true. Sonia took the role as Dot. It kind of seemed like they had written that for June Brown, the speech, but obviously if it came to it that June didn't go, Natalie Cassidy steps up.
Yeah,
she learnt her lines.
It was explained, wasn't it, that she said this was written by Dot, so I think you're right. If June Brown didn't feel well on the day, it did seem like it was quickly changed. So it wasn't really Sonia who was meant to be doing it. It was always meant to be Dot, but yeah,
We've
felt
been
a bit
saying
strange.
that Sonia's the new Dot for a while, though, haven't we?
Well, she is the new Dot. Let's not beat around the bush. She's basically Dot too.
Last
2.0.
Christmas, she read some Bible things out, so she definitely is Dot. Dot 2.0.
I don't know if she's found religion perfectly just yet, but she'll be storming around the square soon. But she does do her holier than thou. She does her judging in the minute mark with Honey, doesn't she? Honey and Sonia are like the new Ethel and Dot, I suppose. But then I suppose it would be two Dots, so it would be Dot and Dot if you included Honey in this situation.
They could always get Sonia to hook up with the gay vicar. There you go. She could find religion and love.
Oh, the female vicar?
Yeah.
I had to think then. They have.
She's disappeared, hasn't she?
Yeah, but they go through vicars. Like every time a vicar is needed, it tends to be a different vicar, and they kind of did that storyline just to give Dot
the vicar
acceptance.
was there for Hope's christening, wasn't she? I think they brought her back out for that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
She's still there in the background.
She was only ever brought in for the whole Colin storyline, I think, when Colin was trying to get Dot to go to.
Yeah, it was a shame.
His wedding.
One of those things that got dropped. They never do that on EastEnders.
Never. Another throwback, Colin.
I know. Did you see that the actor tweeted saying Wolford will always be in his heart?
Oh.
And he said I think the Linda Davison who played Mary tweeted to him and said it was great being there, and he said Colin's always there watching on and it's always in my heart, he said. That's sweet, isn't it?
That's sweet.
That's nice. I mean, speaking of Punk Mary,
I was going to say we had Punk Mary and Lofty back, obviously. Lofty knocked on Sharon's door, and I think Sharon welcomed the break from the drinking and the panic that Karen was giving her.
She didn't seem to recognise anyone, Sharon. Like, Lofty doesn't even look that... Punk Mary looks different, to be fair, but Lofty doesn't look that different. She's like, Lofty?
Yeah.
Like, come on, Sharon.
Her reaction when Mary walked into the pub was classic. She kind of twitched a few times, jolted her neck back.
And Mary saying, yes, it's me.
Yeah.
Like,
no, she
nodding.
doesn't. Yeah. She doesn't even say it, does she? She just closes her eyes slowly and nods gently forward.
Yes, it's me.
Yes, it's me.
It was so good because you had Ikra and Habiba who'd just been introduced that episode, and then in the background you saw Punk Mary. So I remember seeing it, I was like, there she is, it's happening. And then they have a little interaction between them, which is really sweet.
Well, they interact with Punk Mary because Mary's strangely looking at the fish and chip times.
Yeah, opening time.
Nothing like a bag of chips while you're waiting for going to a funeral.
We got introduced to Annie.
I was about to say Annie. Annie, a very interesting character who I guess we're going to be seeing a lot more of.
I hope so. It's like they're testing the waters, aren't they? Because they recast her. They've also given her like a career and a background. Like she's now a policewoman. Can
I just pull you up on something? You keep saying they've recast Annie, but Annie would. Well, of course she's been recast because she was a child when she was.
Yeah, but they brought Punk Mary back for one episode. They could have easily had the original girl if they wanted to, or not included Annie.
But Kate Oates does like to recast.
Yeah, but the fact that they took the effort to find a new actress and to give her that like background, policewoman, could make Constable by 40. Was it Constable? Because I think so. I couldn't write it down quick enough. I'm presuming she was like a detective or something. She looked a bit policey, didn't she? Yeah, she did. She had the long coat, the long dark coat. She had a fringe. Sensible hair. Yeah, she wasn't drinking. She was surprised when she heard her mum was a punk. I know, I love that. You're a punk, mum? Like, no, that was the old days. There were so many references that we enjoyed. Like when Lofty and Sharon were talking in the Vic, and she said, "Oh, you've done well for yourself. I could have gone for you. And he's like, oh, you did remember?
Yeah.
And it's like the episode from like the first year when she had her legs on the bar.
Leg Sharon.
Lofty.
Yeah.
So there's really good references. It was really well written.
He asked after Michelle and Vicky. That was sweet. And he's given Vicky a gift of £20,000.
I know. He's got 15 pubs, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Lofty. Once again, showing Den.
Well, Den obviously didn't have an eye of...
No, Den said you'll never make anything, Lofty.
Yeah. 15 pubs.
So, yeah. Shame Den's not there to rub it in his face.
Well, he'll always be there. He is the ghost of the Vic, isn't he?
He is.
I mean, we didn't really know what Mary did.
I know.
As a job. I wanted to know, did she just...
I can't work it out. Do you think she does like graphic design with Colin?
I just
something
always...
arty, something creative.
I just always imagined that when I saw Punk Mary, not to say that Linda and Mary are the same person, but when I saw Mary, I just thought, oh, she must have the same job as what Linda has.
IT.
Yeah, works in IT. Works for Jamie Oliver's.
I'm trying to think what Mary could do. Because Annie didn't know anything about Mary's past. She didn't know she was naughty or rebel or
she kept it very quiet from her as well. So yeah.
She's supposed to be a changed woman.
Maybe. Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, she had that lovely scene with Dot when she threw shade at Dot and Dot.
She was just on the cusp of having her. What do you mean, Dot?
Yeah.
I didn't do it. But she didn't.
No, she took a deep breath, closed her eyes gently, and said, "You're right, Dot. Everything you did was for the best, and I'm grateful for it."
Well, that's not 100% true, Dot. I
mean, Dot did interfere a lot.
Yeah, I think, writing your secret messages and notes to people and phone calls.
I think Dot could have apologised, really, because she didn't apologise. She just said, well, I'm not...
I was right.
I was right, yeah. And so it felt a bit...
But that did make me laugh. You literally saw Mary, Punk Mary, or Mary the Punk. Like, you could see she was about to go off on one, but she went... and closed her eyes, went... and didn't. It's like, there you go. That's your character growth, Mary.
Yes. You've learned
how to not shout off the rail for anyone.
Yeah, and read.
So yeah, very nice episode. It was just great.
Kathy felt a bit like a third string, though.
I know, it was a bit of a shame. She was just pressed up against the bar, wasn't she?
She was in the background, kept chipping in every now and then.
She had a good story about Dr. Leg and Lou, though. Lou mentioned, which we love.
Yeah, when he got his briefcase caught in the duvet and pulled the duvet off Lou when he visited her.
Whipped it straight over.
That sounds like something out of Pete. Yeah, so they were telling nice stories about
It was just
Dr.
a nice
Leg.
episode, wasn't it? Just to see them back. And they fitted in so well, like straight away. So, yeah,
it was a nostalgic episode, and it kind of felt nice and in place that for where it was the right place. Because after that episode, John York no longer held the reins.
And it was nice because they introduced Habiba and Ikra as well. So it's like old and new, and they found Dr. Leg's like medallion, like lucky charm thing.
Yeah.
And they kept it and said, oh, I don't know what this is, but hopefully it'll bring us luck. So it was nice, like a changing of old character, new character sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, though, that line alone made me instantly think, no, you're basically going to have bad luck now forever on this square. Now you picked up that necklace.
Wow, that comes with the postcode, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a shame, though, because everyone was looking for that necklace, and I suppose they picked it up. I suppose they weren't to know the ins and outs.
Oh, yeah,
of
they
it.
didn't know, do they?
No.
They're just walking through a street in London, all they know.
They lit a candle for Dr. Leg.
They did. Mary bought that candle with her.
She did.
Do you think she owns like a hippie shop, like where she sells incense and candles, Mary? Do you think that's what she does?
Incense and candles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cards, greeting cards.
She was quite well dressed though, wasn't she? She looked quite professional.
That's true.
I thought she looked, because I kind of wanted her to be dressed a bit rough, you know, like she did with her tartan
with her
skirt.
yellow and black.
Yeah, yellow back bumblebee scarf, and
no, she's matured.
But she looked grown up. But she still felt. But this is the thing. She felt grown up, but she felt like it was Mary.
She had a posher voice as well, which upset me deeply.
Apart from when she almost lost. Again, she went when she was talking to the gang and Dot. Yeah, and her voice kind of kicked in again, and she. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see them all.
It was very good. And we had 2 Julius themes in a row.
Well, last week when Dr. Leg died, and then this week, when they lit the candle, all the curtains were closed.
And all the old characters were there all together at the old doctor's surgery. So yeah, it was really good, really well written, and a really good last episode for John York, I think.
Yes, it was a good way to bow out. But he might well return again.
No, I don't think so. I think that's it now. His time is up.
Someone else who was invited to the funeral was family member Rainie.
She was. Well, she sort of got herself invited, didn't she?
Well,
She said,
did she
I am
didn't-
family because I'm married to Max.
Yeah, so she invited herself to the car share as well, wasn't she? So she was well in.
It's really weird, this storyline. They're sort of setting up like a Stuart versus Rainie bidding for Dot's attention.
No, I don't think it is that.
No?
I think it's going to be Stuart and Rainie get together.
No.
I do. I think this is where it's going because Rainie all week felt like she was chasing phone calls from Max, wasn't she? So she visited Dot because she knew that Max was going to phone Dot at some point.
And he phoned Sonia, but he didn't want to talk to her.
But he said he had something to do.
Yeah.
So he spoke to Sonia on the phone for about 20 minutes, and then when Rainie's like, "Oh, can I have a word with him?" She was like, "No, he's got something to do." And then Sonia, quite a bit bitchy, was like, "Well, not much reason you're staying here now, is there? Bye." And she was like halfway making soup.
Oh, she's probably sick. She got Stuart there. She got Rainie there now.
Stuart bought her chips.
Yeah.
For Dot, sorry, I should say.
She wolfed them down, apparently.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Dot wolfing down chips.
No, I can't. I can imagine her delicately, like, dipping it in some
Was
ketchup.
Stuart lying there to make his chips look better than they...
Oh, very much so. That's as you said, it was a one-upmanship between Rainie and Stuart, wasn't it?
Mm.
Stuart didn't like that Rainie was on his territory. But I think it's going to be one of those love... I've got a feeling, because we were saying last week that Stuart is kind of nowhere to go.
Yeah,
I've got a feeling
lost.
that Rainie and Stuart is going to be a bit of a power couple. A bit like when Janine got together with Michael. I think they're going to be a bit of a dangerous couple.
Because they could be
play.
quite dangerous together, couldn't they? Because she's quite manipulating and she can see off some characters. And so can he, and he's quite violent. I guess they could work off together.
And I don't think Rainie's got any love lost against the Carters. So that kind of would help things along. I mean, if they were to start writing a story where the Carters, or one of the Carters, Tina maybe, or Linda, starts to show a bit of anger toward Rainie and starts trying to wind her up deliberately, then I can very much think that Rainie and Stuart will be the story, and they'll be the ones that...
It'll go one way or the other. They'll either end up as this weird romance evil couple, or they'll be at loggerheads and one of them will get rid of the other one or something. But yeah, it's weird because she started drinking as well towards the end of the week because Max is ignoring her.
Yeah, well, to be fair to her, Max phoned Wolford East to talk to Habiba and Ikra.
Well, they were lying though, weren't they? I think Ikra and Habiba were they picked up on something and they pretended that Max had phoned them.
No, because when she turned around and walked away, out of, they believed, his earshot, Habiba said, he didn't mention a wife. And that hit...
How do you think?
Yeah, and that hit Rainie in the stomach hard. And then it was from there when she went to the Vic and downed a double vodka and started eyeing up with the boys.
Yeah, she's on a drink again.
I mean, that would have been, again, a perfect... I suppose if they wanted to do it as a bit of a slow burner, but it's a shame that Stuart can't really step foot in the Vic. And there's no other drinking establishment as of yet to open. So, well, I suppose there's E20, but it would have been nice if maybe she had that double vodka and then kind of looked over the bar and there was Stuart with his bottle of Jenkins beer waiting for
I think that
attention.
it carries on next week, this story. I don't know where it goes or what is going on, but yeah, there's more things next week with Rainie and Stuart. So.
Good. I look forward to it because Rainie was really getting downtrodden by Max.
She was, yeah. I mean, she's such a great actress and she's an interesting character, but she's just being logged with this rubbish storyline for a year.
Yeah, and Max has got what he wants now, so there is basically that's the end of the story.
Yeah, it's weird.
So,
and they did that weird illness thing with her, but they seem to have got rid of that already, where she was faking being ill. So I'm guessing that was an old storyline that Kate's now switched around real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, look forward to seeing what happens to them both.
I don't like... I mean, Rainie is obviously a dependent, but I don't like that Rainie was becoming dependent on Max. No. Rainie was always quite strong. Even when she was on the drugs, she was always the strong one. When she got Phil on the drugs, she was always the strong one, kind of. But she's just easily led. And so a relationship between her and Stuart, I think, would be quite exciting.
Good. I didn't really think about that. We'll see what happens. So next up, we've got another part. It's back. Everyone's favourite feature.
After a week off.
Yeah, Julie's Legacy is back, so hope you enjoy. Welcome back to our ongoing feature, Julie's Legacy, where we are discussing every single ending used on EastEnders with a Julie's theme.
To add 2 more after this week, don't we?
No, it's been lots and lots. There's a new part now. There's part 14 coming. Starting off on the 8th of February 2013. So it's very current. When we're watching the episodes and the credits roll, they're current TV programmes.
I know.
Odd.
I know. I don't like
it's in
that.
HD. It's weird. Don't I? So this one is Zainab, who leaves in a taxi with her son Camille to live with her mother in Pakistan, ending the relationship with her ex-husband Masood.
Which had been very strained up until this point.
It's been coming for like years.
It really had been. I mean, they just got back together again after a breakup, and they thought that they could build the bridges, but unfortunately not. I think it's almost an amicable breakup.
Yeah, it was. It was basically they don't really love each other anymore. Well, they love each other, but there's nothing really there.
Can only be happy if they're apart. They can't be happy together, which is a really sweet thing actually when she says it. And also Zainab really hammers home that she never really felt like she was part of the community in Albert Square, while Masood felt like Masood always was. He kind of fitted in quite easily, while she was always the outsider. She said that she was a square peg in a round hole, and so she, it was best for him to stay, but for her to leave. But she wanted to take her son with her. That was almost the deal that they had made.
Yeah, because she was booking the tickets on the phone, and they said, "Oh, how many tickets is it for?" And she looked at him, and he sort of gave her the, "Okay, you can take Camille," and then she said, "Plus a child." He gave up Camille.
And gave her full card details on national television, which I thought was a dangerous game to play.
And Tamwar's like the only one left now. They've all been leaving slowly, haven't they? But we've been doing all these different Julie's endings. The Masoods have really been like the main family of all the big storylines, all the exit. But yeah, they're sort of pittering out now. There's only Masood and Tamwar left.
It is a shame that they kind of pitted off, and it left Masood as a bit of a whimpering character, which we see today.
A spare part.
Very much a spare part. And so, although Zainab was correct to say that he was part of the community, his part of the community was really sleeping with a lot of people who were related or knew Ian Bill in one way or another. It was quite a dangerous game that he played.
Yeah.
I mean, if Ian Bill had been Phil Mitchell, I think Masood would have been found at the bottom of a lake by now.
He would have.
He just doesn't know the right people. He needs to talk to Cindy's hitman.
Yeah, that would save a lot of broken hearts on the square. I was kind of ready for the Ahmeds and Masood's family to sort of go by this point. Masood has run his course. Tamwar had pretty much run his course.
But not quite, because this is before the Tamwar and
Nancy
story.
that was his leaving story. That was good, but everything before.
Tamwar was always played as the kind of string along character, wasn't he? He kind of just had the odd line here and there. He had a few silly stories. Yeah, he had a few stories that were always front center, but they never were any serious note, particularly. And if they were, then they were kind of shooed to one side and not really, which was a shame, really, because the actor was is very good and deserved more, really, for his character.
I guess the woman who plays Zainab, she sort of left right at the right time. Like, she picked that quite well, because she left with people wanting more.
Yeah.
And even to this day, people would like a return from her. Whereas Masood has kind of overstayed his welcome, and he's left again now in 2019, and no one really noticed.
No one's that concerned.
It's not like a big fanfare, so it's the right choice for her to leave at this point, I think. But yeah, I mean, the next one was 17th of September 2013, and this is Jean Slater leaves Albert Square.
You can't go wrong with a Jean.
No.
And so you know it's going to be a fun story. And this is the one when she leaves with Ollie, who a lot of listeners may know Ollie because he came back last year when there was the Jean and Ollie breakup. So
yeah, and they've broken up.
I know.
It makes this Julie's theme a bit redundant.
It does now, but at the time it was sweet that she had this man who loved her and she loved him. Kat was trying to keep Jean at the square for selfish reasons because she wanted her to kind of look after her. But in the end, Kat admits Jean needs to make her own story, her own destiny away from her. Kat realised she made this mistake. She starts chasing after Ollie to try to stop him from going to Brighton without her.
Yes, she gets Alfie, who's now with Roxy.
Yeah, no, that was
really
weird.
Horrible coupling.
The writers were always indicating that really Roxy and Alfie wasn't quite right.
No, it's a weird. No, it doesn't.
Roxy took a pregnancy test. I don't think she ever had a child with
No, she just had Amy.
Yes, just Amy with Jack.
And yeah, so that's an odd coupling anyway. But yeah, there's sort of hints at Alfie and Kat getting back together because that infamous line was said by Jean, "The man in the moon."
Oh yeah, don't give up on your man in the moon, just before she leaves. And and Kat has a little think, oh yeah, maybe I do still love Alfie.
Yes.
The relationship between Alfie and Kat that gets hot and cold every 5 seconds. There's also Lucy and Ian as well in this episode. Jean has a go at Ian for not wanting to talk to Lucy after Ian had come back after his breakdown, and he lived life as a tramp for a few, or homeless man, I should say. That's kind of for a few months.
It was nice seeing those scenes because it made the Jean and Ian relationship that happened just now
made better
kind
sense.
of put it in context. I kind of forgot about that, but she worked for Ian and she was chopping veg and stuff, and they had a bit of a friendship even then. So I guess it kind of puts it a bit more.
It makes it more understandable.
A little bit, yeah. So that was nice to see.
It was nice to see, and I mean there is a very like Jean says that her and Ian aren't very dissimilar really because they both are easily broken and can be easily snapped if needs be. She encourages him to speak to Lucy. This is the kind of the beginning of the strained relationship between Ian and Lucy that we later on have.
Built up for a long time, which we're talking slightly about a bit later, so that's exciting.
Yes, we are. We certainly are. But it was lovely seeing Jean also. I mean, I've said to you when we were watching the episode, I remember watching this when it was broadcast in September 2013, and I remember at the time thinking, because they only brought Jean back really to just kind of do that story again. So she had one quick story and then left again. At the time, I wished that Jean had stayed, and so when she came back last year, I've always had this this attachment, I suppose, with Jean. Maybe Jean and I are very similar people.
She's the type of character you just root for, don't you? Like you just want her to do well or have a happy ending, which she did get.
Yeah.
She got a convertible. She was dancing in the back of the car.
She was flailing around with her arms in the air out the sunroof. She was having a great time, shouting goodbye to people.
Yeah. So she has her happy ending. It's just that she's obviously come back now. Back to Wolford where not many happy endings.
No. You don't come to Wolford for a happy ending.
No.
That's certainly true.
So the next one, which is 30th of May 2014, which is David Wicks leaves after he ends his relationship with Carol. And obviously David Wicks was a character who was in like the 90s when Simon left, Pat's other son. And there was lots of storylines going through with Carol and Bianca. Very controversial storylines back then.
David and Simon Wicks, they never spent time on screen together.
No, never.
Not once.
Not even Pat's funeral. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
It's strange, but also something that comes up one day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly familiar with David Wicks, I must be honest. When I was watching this episode of him and Carol, it was like watching Christmas 2018 episode of Alfie Moon.
Yeah.
He's very similar to Alfie, and it was written the same, and it's obviously in the same house. It was it wasn't my favourite Julius theme, I must admit.
I mean, I thought the sentiment of it was really nice. Carol felt like David was almost marrying her out of pity, and when he said that he had got a planned trip for her to go to Miami because she was having a double mastectomy because of the cancer she had.
Yeah, because they were meant to be getting married the day before this.
And he had a heart attack. And she accused him of faking the heart attack.
Yeah, jolting her at the altar, which wasn't the case.
No. Fraught words were said to one another at the wedding. That led to Carol feeling a little unattached to David, and that really this isn't going to work out, and perhaps she's better off just on her own to fight this fight that is the cancer that she's trying to get rid of.
Yeah, and they shared one last dance together as well.
They did to a blues record, because that was her something blue for the wedding, and he hid it under the bench in the square garden
where Shaquille was found.
The
same bush in like a plastic bag.
I guess that is the spot where if you don't want to get found, that's where you go. Because like that bag, and you could obviously see the bag.
Yeah.
The opening shot of the episode was the bag.
Yes, that's right. We all forgot about that towards the end of the episode. The opening shot was the bag in the bush. And it was used towards the end. And that's what was in it. But yeah, I mean, David Wicks, he had like a goodbye with Bianca as well, which was a bit odd.
Sonia skipped off of her shift at the cafe. I thought she was training to be a nurse at this point.
Yeah, worked at the cafe, Sonia.
Yeah. So she kind of skipped her shift there and went back to see Carol and David. It was nice. Again, it was quite similar to the Zainab and Masood story, where it was an amicable breakup. But you could see that David, when he was packing his bag to leave, he was embarrassed. He felt frightened that it was a bit of the unknown that he was going into, while Carol still kept the composure and was very strong, which is Carol's character. She was always very strong. But it's very unlike David to be seen on the hop and not know what his next move is. He's always been the kind of character who is a bit sneaky, a bit like, as you said, Alfie Moon.
Yeah, a bit slime bully.
Not slime bully.
Well, she had the line, she said, the famous line of, how do you know if he's lying because his mouth is moving, sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's what she said. But yeah, he didn't go back to the hospital.
No, he promised to go back to the hospital because he discharged himself from the hospital after his heart attack. Off to Wolford General then, sir. And he went, no, I'm going to go to Heathrow, please. It's going to cost you. That was his last words as he drove off into...
That's him done. But he only came back for like a very short stint. Because he came back for a special guest appearance when Pat died. That must have reignited something in him. So he came back full time. And then he had this story for like the year and a half he was back.
I mean, there was also the scene when Carol takes off her wig and she's completely bald, and that's a really brave thing to do, isn't it? To just show that, like, you know, I am the strong character and I don't need your help. And this is what you're going to marry, because she felt like that he said that he loved her warts and all, but then he booked that appointment in Miami.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
her
well, do you...
job and stuff. Yeah, questioning whether it really was warts and all or not. But I found it interesting that she put her wig back on when Bianca came back in.
Yeah,
like, she didn't want Bianca to see.
But that's because she is her mum, and so she probably doesn't want to show weakness in front of her daughter. She's meant to be strong for her daughter, isn't she? So without the hair, because for women and for men, you know, it's the strength, isn't it? Your hair, it's a Herculean strength is your hair, and to lose it like that, it's such a horrible thing to just lose, and it can be seen to some people just as a shameful thing, which it shouldn't, but it can.
Exit.
It wasn't their exit. They brought him back in order to maybe give him that exit. It's like the exit he deserved to have.
One before.
Yeah, the one he deserved to have in the past, he's now having now. The episode was fine. It just wasn't gripping necessarily.
It was new producer coming in, getting rid of a few, I think, was more the case.
The culling.
So the last one of this week is the 24th of February 2015, and this is Peter Beale and a pregnant Lauren walk away from Wolford together as a couple to move to New Zealand.
This was the episode, or the week of episodes, where it was after the live 30th anniversary
all revealed of Lucy's death.
So we watched the live ones as well, didn't we?
We did. I got a bit carried away.
So we rewatched the live week as well. #EE Live.
It is very good.
It is really good watching it back again.
Yeah.
I mean, Kathy's return. You got to help me, Phil.
I want to come home. Please.
I want to come home.
Please let me come home.
And he did. He had her hide in a cab in the garage for a week.
Eventually.
Feeding her sandwiches. And Sharon came and was like, I know you're here. You better show your face.
He thought she was having an affair, didn't she?
He did.
But yeah, this is when, after the live week, and everyone now knows, well, the Beale family know that Bobby is the one that killed Lucy.
Yes.
But they're all keeping it as a Beale secret. Stays in the family. We'll carry on.
But Peter doesn't think he can stay on the square knowing this dark secret.
And Lauren has a secret as well. She's secretly pregnant. She tells him at the grave of Lucy. And she also has the evidence from Emma Summerhayes' phone, and they both destroy it together, so nothing can happen to Bobby.
Yeah, there's no trail to follow. Eventually, Peter convinces Lauren to kind of go away back to New Zealand with him, with Stephen. Stephen's there to upset the boat later on.
A lot of these like exits are really redundant because they then come back like a year later. Because Lauren comes back with Stephen. It's like, for God's sake.
I mean, I think it was more of the actor who played Peter wanted to go at this point, didn't he? He didn't really want to stay for much longer. It made good sense that that Peter wanted to leave, because it's a really horrible thing to keep from people that you know. You know, this is meant to be your community. This is meant to be people who, you know, inside out. No, a secret can't stay a secret for long on the square. It's
such a good, like, the Who Killed Lucy thing was such an amazing storyline for the Beales, because we know the Beales, like, they're the original EastEnders family. There's always a Beale in Wolford, and there was loads of them. There was Cindy, there was Lucy, Peter, Jane, Ian, and this storyline was amazing. But the fallout of this storyline meant that, you know, Peter left, Lucy left, Lauren left, Cindy left. And like the Beales like collapsed,
dispersed
like overnight. So it was amazing, but also it kind of ended that family, and they still haven't rekindled anything now, have they?
Not really, but then it's the time, as we've said before, it's that time when it's right for them to come back together again. I mean, we were talking of Cindy. The actress who plays Cindy was remarkable. I really enjoyed watching her. Some of the scenes she did. And you surprised me again. You surprised me a lot this week, Ben. You said to me that Cindy was the original killer, was meant to be the original killer.
She was planned as the original killer of Lucy.
And they changed it. Oh, okay.
It was changed. But yeah, that was meant to be the actress's big thing during the
Right.
live week
Right.
because she was very good on the live week. She had lots of things.
Oh, she was
She
brilliant.
had loads of things to say, but yeah, she was the original killer of Lucy. Cindy was.
And also a mistake. Sorry, this has got nothing to do with the episode, but a mistake on Live Week by Peter. He said,
I know no one picked up on
No one
this.
picked up on it.
How's Adam?
"How's it?" Yeah, that was picked up straight
Yeah.
away.
Peter's wasn't. He said Jake's in prison.
Yeah, meaning Max. So yeah, take that. Yeah, I mean the build-up, as you said, the build-up watching the week before was just remarkable. Live Week was fantastic, and this episode was the dessert, the ending of the whole story, and then from there
the next sort of round of
Bobby
turning a bit evil. But Peter said goodbye to Bobby and said, "I'll always be your big brother. I'm always there for you."
Yeah.
So it is kind of right for Peter to sort of come back now, I think.
Yeah, I think so, because now Bobby's out of prison.
Yeah.
He needs a security blanket, which is his older brother, and his sister Cindy.
Yeah,
I mean,
but not Lauren.
No, we can keep Lauren. But yeah, and he even said, Bobby says, "Was it me? Or did I kill Lucy?" And thought about it for a second, and Peter went, "No, it wasn't you."
Didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, it was lovely. It was a great.
It was really good.
Great episode, great scene.
And the past three before that were not very good.
No.
Julie's themes, but this one was probably the best.
It was nice that this was the end.
Yeah.
This is the last one of our week. A couple of stories that happened also. Abby left the Branning household at the same time and got really upset because it, as usual, for poor old Abby,
I know.
it's got turned into being about Lauren again.
Yeah.
She had a right scream and then found out that Ben still had feelings for men. But she said in a really good line that I'll make it work. So this is when Abby was trying to
Such a shame Abby's gone. She was so good.
Because I think this is just before Aunt Babe got introduced too, and then the Aunt Babe Abby dynamic, which was fantastic.
It was.
And they tried everything to keep Ben with Abby, but unfortunately didn't work out too
Wasn't to
hot.
be.
No.
But yeah, there you go. So that's this week's 4 Julie's themes.
Yes.
Done.
Another 4 to come next week.
Yes.
And if you guys have enjoyed listening or have any comments that you'd like to add, do let us know on Twitter at EastEnders Week. We're on Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast, or you can join and discuss on our Facebook group. All you have to do is search EastEnders Weekly Podcast.
And there you go. So that was Julia's legacy. There you go. The dregs of the Julie's theme in the mid-noughties. Not the best,
No.
but we're getting there.
It's only 2 more editions, isn't there? And then a one-off special.
And then, yeah,
Nothing's
there's
ever a
this-
one-off special for us.
Can't forget Pat and Peggy. We're in there in
Oh,
our sights.
Spoilers!
They're in our sights, plus others.
There we go. Stay listening.
So next up we have Out of the Old, Punk, Mary and Lofty, they're gone. Forgotten. In with the new.
Ronnie and Roxy out. Ikra and Habiba.
Who's running Roxy?
I don't know. I know the new Ronnie and Roxy, and that's Ikra and Habiba.
They're not that similar to Ronnie and Roxy, are they?
I mean, it's a little obvious, don't you think? I kind of wanted to push away the hate from people saying that they were very similar, but you can see that they're starting out that way.
I don't think they are.
But they
There's
are.
not like Ronnie was a real headstrong one, but there's not really a headstrong sister yet, I've noticed. Like
Ikra's headstrong. She's
think?
business-minded, yeah. And Habiba is the more kind of loose, partying, Roxy style.
Yeah, Ronnie had like a meanness or like a bossness to her. But I don't know if Ikra does.
She does, because she really
Which one's your favourite?
But let me just say, Ikra did shoot Ruby down this week by basically calling her business, which is true, business a little bit like champagne and bubbles. It's just all show, and so there's no
Ruby.
no substance to her business.
I'm really starting to like Ruby. I'm quite worried with myself, my own
that's
health.
good. It's good.
Although Ruby's power presentation looked questionable. I saw on the laptop.
Yeah, I think she's got membership with Getty Images. It's literally just
It was just pictures of like bubbles and champagne. Literally what Ikra said. Actually, it was really bad.
There you go. So
and there was like some weird green cocktails, and like there was like the colour theme was like toxic green.
I mean, they've got quite a wide audience they're going for. They're going for the pink pound. They're going for
Any pound.
They're going for the grey pound. I mean, all the pounds are there. So all Ruby needs to do is basically say, "We'll have one night tonight," and that'll be good. My favourite of the both of them, I must admit, is Habiba.
Oh, is it? How weird. Mine's Ikra.
Oh, well, there you go. Split opinion. For a lot of people, neither of them are their favourites. But then I don't think people are giving them the time.
No. You need to give them about 3-4 months to see how... Because they've already filmed about 3 months. So then they'll take what people are saying and maybe tone them down a little bit.
Well, exactly. And they'll adjust accordingly. But no, I really enjoyed Habiba. In fact, I really, really, really liked the scene with Bernie and Habiba. But we'll talk about that when we talk about Tiff and Bernie a bit later on.
Yeah,
but no, I
we
really
said goodbye to
scene.
Masood. Don't forget it.
Well, he's gone full circle. He turned up in an ice cream van. He left in an ice cream van.
He did, revamped.
But you think he would sell that ice cream van to Ian or make it part of the sales with Max?
Wolford East, because I thought they sold food in there from Wolford East, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Actually, you're absolutely right. They used to open outside E20 at night so they could sell, kebabs.
Maybe he's going to sleep in it in Nancy and Tamwa's front garden.
Well,
in Australia.
He's no way going to drive that to Australia.
Yeah, he is. On a ferry.
Ferry all the way to Australia. One of those cargo boats. Yeah. I suppose he could.
Do it. But yeah, bye-bye Masood. It was nice.
Bye-bye Masood. Hello, Ikra and Habiba.
Yes. So they arrived. Bit naughty, because one of them took the Oyster card and then the other one had to jump over.
Oh yeah, threw it underneath the machine.
It was a bin, I think.
Was it a bin?
But it was a bin that was like
screwed into the ground. Okay. Yeah, and she took a running... It was quite funny watching her jump over that security gate. Because you think you take distance to run up to the gate and then leap over it. She kind of ran up, stopped, lifted herself over and then went over and walked off. And no guards to stop him either. I don't know.
Luckily.
Anyone who lives in the UK knows that they are tight as in train stations now.
Wolford, don't bother.
There's always someone. There's always someone.
They're too busy
there.
Getting rid of Big Mo, trying to get money from the out front.
What, from her busking?
Chasing her off, yeah.
Busking, saying she's got some sickness that's related to her grandchildren.
We had Big Mo's birthday as well, which can't be forgotten.
Well,
she's now 83.
Yeah, she's been celebrating, for 2 days by the time we saw her in the Vic?
Martin said she celebrates up until she's been given a drink that is the number of her age. So when she's been given 83 drinks this year, she'll stop.
And still it wouldn't touch the sides. It would just be just
I
normal.
find it hilarious. She's 1 year younger than Dot. I still find it hilarious on the show. Like how different her and Dot are. Dot wasn't well enough to go to a funeral, and Big Mo was just there drinking like 12 shots.
Yeah, getting drunk down the pub. I mean, Habiba and Ikra meet the Slaters for the first time at the pub.
They do,
and they don't set off on quite the right foot.
No, I'm glad because they do this a lot when they bring like a new character and they have a Barney with Kat or a Slater. Like Karen did it, didn't she?
Yes.
And they have like a rivalry. So I'm quite glad they sort of teased it and we're like, oh, okay, they're having a rivalry with the Slaters. But like it ended up like switching around and they became like friends. So I thought that was quite clever. Yeah,
it was a bit convoluted though the way they did it. So I
still don't 100% get the plan. It's a bit weird. She did a lot just to get a waistcoat.
And it's working on the premise that someone would do this certain thing in a certain order in order for it to be pulled off. So she spills orange juice on Mick, so he had to take off his waistcoat because Kat had mentioned earlier that his waistcoat was a bit garish and a bit rubbish. And then she sets off a fire alarm in the kitchen by putting a tea towel. I mean, she could have started a genuine fire here. It's not really a very kind plan to actually purposefully try to start a fire.
I was all confused. I thought she was coming out of the toilets, but I'm thinking of classic EastEnders where the toilets used to be there. So that's why I was confused.
Oh, it's very confusing.
Because I think she was coming out of the toilets and the fire alarm was going off.
Well, remember when...
But no, that's the kitchen now.
The Vic they could never do a storyline with the Vic where they have a fire anymore because their alarm system is top notch.
Well, so many people have been jumping off the roofs, so they've obviously secured the door to upstairs.
Yeah, because the way
the
way to get to the roof is far too easy. You can either climb or just go through the door. It doesn't matter.
So they got it sorted now, and since the fire with Peggy, they've got a good fire system set up. Halfway was behind the bar. Can I notice? No hat still. We're 2 weeks running. 3 weeks running.
I don't know, Ben. Where is Halfway's hat?
I want to know. His blue fluffy woolly hat.
It's not always blue. It's lots of different colours, his hat. He has many different hat. But his hat changes its guise depending on the weather or the occasion. But yeah, not wearing the hat anymore. And he's got a proper hairstyle as well. Because when he never wore the hat, he always had a kind of like an outline of where the hat should have been.
Yeah, like a bowl haircut.
Yeah.
He's got his proper haircut now. He's got gel in his hair.
It's because he's matured.
It's going away.
He's matured.
I put it on Twitter. I wanted to put it out there.
Right.
And I saw you. There's a storyliner out there who liked it. So I'm extremely suspicious now
All right.
of my theory.
Are we still waiting for the wink?
I am.
Wink once.
It'll be around April time, I feel.
All right.
We'll see. But yeah, I saw you storyliner. Toying with my emotions.
We've got your card.
Habiba and Ikra sort of made friends with the Slaters. I rewatched some of their scenes, and when they were in Wolford East, none of them can cook, and they don't know what they're going to do. And Ikra kept saying, well, this is part one of the plan. She tried to flirt with Halfway. Do you think she's going to try and get Halfway to ditch the Vic and work in the restaurant?
I think Halfway works in the restaurant already.
Well, we saw him that one time, but that was him helping out, he said, because that was really confusing. But
surely they employ a chef. Oh no, I suppose Masood and Ian both used to cook.
Yeah, they were chefs, weren't they? Kathy can only make a fry up.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, and a butty sandwich. She can butter some bread. That's all she can do. But Halfway's like the only person who's a chef now, unless they bring back Kyle Slater.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she's making friends with the Slaters.
Well, yeah, to bring back
Stacey
Kyle.
will be like, my brother who no one talks about. He's just qualified.
Wolford East is this is it. It's a very specialist menu, isn't it? It's like a fusion.
Did you see that Ikra was always looking at the menu? Like every time they were doing busy work, she was just holding a menu all the time, putting it on table.
Familiarising herself with that's
all she was doing.
Meals, the food. Well, she has to know them if she's going to serve people. But they had a full restaurant, so if no one was cooking,
it's a bit
giving
odd,
them
isn't it?
fresh air.
It doesn't really make sense, but nothing to do with Masood and Ian's business has made sense for about a year and a half now.
Well,
so.
Masood did relish on the first episode of the week the fact that he was going to basically wind Ian and Max up by employing his two
It's
cousins.
Really weird. And he was like, if it fails, it doesn't bother me. It's only my arch nemesis and Ian. It's like, I don't know. It's just really weird. That
Max isn't his.
He said something like that, didn't he?
I'm trying to think.
He basically said it was two people that he didn't really care about. So if you mess up the restaurant, who do I care?
Well, Max upset Carmel, and Masood and Carmel had a thing.
Masood had a thing with every woman on that square.
That's true. He'd have a thing with a bin if he had half a chance.
But yeah, I mean, Ikra and Habiba, obviously, they have some sort of secret they keep referencing, or something. They're like running away from family or something.
Well, they
don't want to contact family.
And
it's all Ikra's fault that they're here.
Yeah.
So something's happened with Ikra, something with the family. Both of them have no money.
But they've hired now Ruby to create these promo nights, and the only way they could, behind Ikra's back, Habiba had sold their grandfather's television. So again, a lot of
missing TVs around the square.
There's so many missing TVs around the square. At first we blamed Alfie, but now we're not so sure. I mean, everyone seems to be like sharing TVs amongst one another. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's weird, and you have to wire them in as well, so they're quite old TV.
Ian spent days wiring one in one time.
He did, but it was a nice introduction to Ikra and Habiba. I know a lot of people are questioning their acting abilities, but they've only been there a week. They're going to be. I mean, let's think back to Johnny Carter's first
I was about to say Johnny Carter.
Let's think about his first year.
He didn't. Well, that's the thing. He didn't change.
No.
So there's always nerves with a new character coming in. It's very rare when a character comes in and they're instantly great.
Unless you're Pat, who was great on her first scene.
But it always reminds me of Dennis Rickman. When Dennis Rickman was first introduced to the soap, he was awful and he was panned and he was like a plank of wood, his acting. But as he grew and the stories started coming through and he became more of what he knew he needed to become, the actor, he was much better.
Yeah.
So they just need to get a feel, find out what they are.
They've been on two episodes. I think once Mira and Masha come back, that will help give them a bit sort of to play off rather than just playing off each other. They're two new actresses who don't know each other. So once they get involved in the cast a bit more. But it's nice how they've introduced them to loads of the cast already.
Yes.
That's really good.
Hopefully they get to see their dentist cousin.
Yeah, and Adam, exactly. So there's that as well. So lots to look forward to. And we also had Habiba do some scenes with Bernie. So we'll talk about the Tiff storyline next.
Yeah, Tiff is hanging out with the gang. Guess who's back?
I know,
with her long fingers.
We still don't know her official gang name.
Sloth.
But we go with Sloth. The woman who filmed Dennis in the pit carpet on the phone. Her.
She was behind, is it Sticks?
I think so.
When she was on the bench, doing her best possible reaction face shots. She's just great. I love Sloth so much.
She's amazing. So the gang don't really like Tiff because she's like the new favourite. So So yeah,
they throw a ketchupy chip at her, but she ducks out the way, and it hits Bernie on the back of her coat, and this upsets Bernie. And
the amount of like scrubbing they were doing on that jacket later, it was like it was one little bit of ketchup.
I know you could.
She had like 5 sponges like scrubbing at it, a bit over the top.
Tiff wanted to be back in Bernie's good books, and so they did. They started talking again, and while they were talking, and she reassured that Dennis wasn't selling drugs. I mean, even the writers must be getting a bit sick of this drug storyline because they don't really kind of reference it very much anymore. It's just getting a bit like, we don't really.
I much prefer the Bernie and Tiff story.
Yes.
That side of it so much more. It's so much better. And once again, Bernie in her ongoing feeling like something really bad is about to happen to Bernie all the time. Like she always just embarrasses herself or does something embarrassing. There was another one of them this week. She's been on online dating apps.
I know. Well, her phone kept buzzing, didn't it? And Tiff was like, "Oh, what's that? What's that?" Because normally it's Tiff who's constantly on her phone. Yeah, and Bernie's on an online dating app, but one that strangely doesn't require a photo.
Yeah, because she's a bit shy. She doesn't want her photo up, so she understands that her possible date doesn't have one up too. And does she know that her date comes from a Muslim family? Is that confirmed, or does she just?
No, it's not. It's a bit of a far-field thought, isn't it? I guess she might have.
Yeah, maybe she does. Because she goes to Wolford East, tries to do her makeup.
She puts on fake tan and it's a bit patchy, let's just say.
She tries to do some contouring, but it doesn't look very good. And Karen thinks she's been punched in the face.
Yeah.
And, Tiff comes to the rescue. She did Jean's makeup last week.
Well, I was going to say, is there a hint of a career for Tiff once she stopped her drug pushing? Is she going to start makeup?
Good. I said that someone online asked, what would you do with Tiff? And I said maybe she seems to be quite creative with her makeup. Like she could actually do maybe a career. That thing that the young characters used to do on EastEnders.
Well, creativity must run in the blood because Whitney was going to open that T-shirt store.
Exactly.
So
yeah, so it'd be nice if a character actually went and had a career or had an ambition to do something, because none of them ever do. So that could be good for Tiff, like makeup artist. She could be an apprentice in a salon, open a salon.
That's it. She can still stay on the square because the actress is amazing, so we want to keep her. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. She could easily just start this job, not even a job, a career, as you said.
Maybe they're leading to that, but she helped her out. She built up all her confidence, made her go.
Yeah. She
said to her, "I'll be here if you need me." Yeah. So she goes into the date, and then Evie pops up,
taps her on the shoulder, and says,
"Got some chicken."
yeah. I understand you've been looking for me. I don't need looking after. And then invites Tiff to go to a house party, which Tiff is keen to go, but unfortunately Bernadette's date doesn't go quite to plan.
And we have those really nice scenes with Habiba and Bernie, which gave another level to Habiba's character, I think.
I liked that scene a lot.
Yeah, it was really nice. She was really supportive and caring.
Yeah.
She was there to help Bernie. She was, giving her advice and things. It was really sweet.
The question I have on my lips is, what is an all-inclusive nativity?
Isn't it those things that people always moan about, like, my school doesn't do the traditional nativity, now they have aliens come in and this come in, and
sounds great.
They have things from all religion, like, in the story, which people moan about online, don't they?
It sounds like a lot more fun.
Daily Mail.
Yeah, because Bernie played one of the 3 wise people, which I thought was great. I love it when she said that. I was one of the 3 wise people.
She must know that her date was meant to be Muslim because she practiced the language. So she must have known, which is why she thought Habiba was her blind date, but she wasn't.
No, but Habiba was so kind to her, and when she saw that she'd been stood up, she comforted her and consoled her. And Bernie was a bit like, "Oh, she must have seen me when I was outside." And so she turned around and walked away, and she said, "I can't do this." And it's like, and Habiba could have just been like, "Well, yeah, okay, yeah."
But no, she said, "Oh no, you don't deserve her anyway."
Yeah.
But then she said, "Oh, the person you will be your best friend," and then that's obviously
your best mate,
back
but
into
better.
Into her head. But yeah, it was nice. That was a really nice scene between Bernadette and Habiba, and obviously they're linking now back to Bernie maybe fancying Tiff again.
I think so, but I think Bernie also is. I think she's kind of fallen out of being a part of the gang now and doesn't really want to be part of it anymore.
Because she said no to Evie for the first time and she hung up on her 3 times.
Yeah. So
that's not going to be good.
I mean, a night in with bag crisps, film.
Salty or sweet? It's popcorn.
Oh, was it popcorn?
It was salty or sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hanging up on Evie, that's going to have repercussions. Is Evie going to take it out on Tiff or take it out on Bernie?
Well, because Tiff is her little pet project, isn't it? So
she's going to take it out on Bernie, isn't she?
Oh yeah, well she called her that lump this week.
Saint Bernard.
Saint Bernard, that lump. If you stay listening, we'll be talking about a tweet we sent out about Habiba and Ikra later about what you think perhaps is their secret. So stay listening to the end.
I've got no idea.
Nor do I, but
money.
Our listeners do. Do you want money?
Don't know. TV? No, I don't know.
Fame, fortune, Wolford East.
So, we are now moving on. We missed this last week as well because it was so busy. But it's back again. We've got our classic EastEnders roundup.
There's a magical mystery tour of the human digestive system in Body Matters in half an hour on BBC One after this evening's episode of EastEnders.
So the exciting retrospective retro soap episodes on the drama channel.
Nostalgia overload.
Yeah, injected straight into my veins.
Got lots going on. We're coming towards the end of the year now.
We're looming on to 88.
Yeah, fireworks are going off.
But they did the firework campaign, yeah.
It's so funny how that was just in like one scene, like a firework went off in a kid's face.
Yeah, and now it'd be forever.
Nowadays it would be like, we're working with all the charities to do this storyline justice, and we're going to be covering it over a long period of 9 months. And it's like, back then it was like, firework went off in thingy's face, and then that's it.
Quickly phone a doctor.
So funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It was rightly done that way as well. It didn't really need much.
But it's funny how they like do politically correct things now, like the Shaquille stabbing storyline that went on for ages, and like the consent storyline. But if that was back in 88, it would have just been 1 week storyline, and they would have forgotten it.
Well, if you think about it, the consent storyline, it kind of happened with Mamet, didn't it? Really, because he kept pushing and pushing with Punk Mary, and
she just put a brick through his window.
Yeah, and his car, and phoned up Chinese takeaways to deliver food to the taxi office.
So Sue's back from her mysterious absence on the show.
Yes.
And she's pregnant, so that's fun. That's good.
Yeah, she didn't come back pregnant. She was pregnant when she left.
Apparently.
So, yeah. Well, yes. So Ali is the father, of course, of the child.
So that's nice. And some nice good news for Sue, finally.
And they've painted the cafe and they've moved the counterforce. So now it looks a bit more like the cafe we know and love today.
It's a little bit bigger, like 2% bigger.
Yeah, a little bit of window space at the front now, and it's yellow, so nice bright colour, new curtains. The cab office has just been left just to rot to nothing.
Not even repainted. No. It's like grotty green still.
I thought that was a bit lazy.
Yeah. And the cat's left.
Well, they explained it. One day the door was left open, he walked out and chased something, and then they said, "Where's Starsky?" And he's like, "I don't know, he's probably gone." And then that was it. So we've no more cat.
I love the cafe cat, and he's got his exit. Didn't Rolly bark at him and he ran off, and
that's it. You can imagine if the cat got... Anyone out there who can edit Julia's themes onto...
We made this request last week and someone did it. They made the Mary Julia's theme.
They did.
Cast cards. EastEnders Cast Cards.
Thank you, EastEnders Cast Cards. Find him on Instagram and Twitter. We retweeted it as well, so search it on our Twitter.
And Linda Davison retweeted it. She loved it.
So that was Punk Mary's exit to Julia's theme.
With her fingers up.
Yeah, so we want Starsky the cat with Julia's theme. Please, that exit this week. Bring it on.
That would bring a tear to my eye.
It certainly
Genuine.
would. What else has happened? Wilmot Brown has turned a new leaf, an evil leaf.
Yes,
he's now showing his colours.
Evil. Really evil. Really quickly.
Yeah, really.
He's lost his temper.
He loses his temper quite quickly. He's lost it with Colin for not getting the designs on time. He's lost it with Mary and sacked her.
Being useless.
Which she was useless.
Yeah, to be fair, she did deserve all that.
She didn't clean very much, and when she did clean, she was doing it kind of half.
And to be fair, Ange said to him, she's useless. When she gets, I'll kill her. She needs to get out of here. Then when she did come back, he did what she said.
Suggested.
And then Angie was like, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, but then Angie, changed her tune. But then Angie was on the verge of being sacked too. She's been told that she's just a barmaid and to button it.
Yeah, she's not the boss.
No.
But yeah, so he's turning evil.
Well, he's let out his anger on because there's a lot of burglaries happening around the square at the moment, and he caught one of them and whacked them with a fireplace stick. There is a proper name for them. I think they're called pikes.
Poker.
A poker. He hit them with a poker.
Come on now, it's a poker. That's my Wilmot Brown voice.
Oh, it's very posh.
Thank you. We try all impressions on this show.
We do. We try them once and then never again.
But this must be about the time where it started must have coming out that Lou wanted to leave and Den wanted to leave and Angie wanted to leave, mustn't it? Because they've changed a few characters up, obviously making him the new evil one. Now Den's leaving.
Yeah, but
and
they're also
all
changing...
Lou keeps going on about is her will and dying.
I know. So it's obviously that she's on the way, on the way out.
I just love Lou. Every scene she's in is just amazing.
Simon Wicks as well, though. You're starting to see a bit of a side to him as well.
He's changing a bit. He's not the lovable guy he's
not a chip off his old Pete's back.
That lovable scamp in summer that I used to like.
Yeah.
Now he's all
One night with Sharon in the hotel, hiding under a blanket, and this is what happens to you.
That's right. But yeah, it's all going on. It'll be Christmas soon.
It will be.
Well, hey.
But something we can't just forget and just paint over. It was the first ever gay kiss.
Oh yeah. Blink and you miss it.
Yeah, Colin and Barry.
On the forehead.
On the forehead. It was very intimate. It was beautiful.
And that caused uproar.
It caused an absolute stink in
1987,
yeah. Nowadays, I was saying to you, I said, nowadays, they're practically half naked on the floor, rolling around in bed. But no, then it was just a kiss on the forehead, a simple, innocent kiss on the forehead.
Amazing, isn't it? That was
It wasn't even passionate. It was just
page one.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just a kind of comforting kiss to Barry.
He was sick
because he felt unwell.
Yeah. It's weird though, isn't it? Because they kept putting their arms around each other and hugging. Like, what's the difference between a peck on the forehead to hugging? Like, it's strange, isn't it? How the papers picked up on.
But
just
then
that thing.
The papers have always had a kind of a relationship with EastEnders. The EastEnders have kind of always wanted to embrace the newspaper press, but at the same time, the press like to knock it down as much as they like.
The bad soap.
It's
the gritty soap.
The grittier soap. I mean, there's been a few other stories. I mean, Annie. We shouldn't forget Annie.
She's still missing.
She's not missing.
Not a policewoman yet.
She's with the grandparents, and Mary with Rod is trying to get them back together.
There's some really nice scenes of the professionals, like the professional side of things, like Dr. Legg and the social workers in the office, how they're all trying their hardest, but it's nice to see that side actually, because you just see Mary yelling at them all the time, but then you see the other side where they have all these cases, and there is a case that's more important than Mary's. So yeah, I thought that was really good they showed that.
I think Mary's got a new catchphrase as well. It's, "I don't believe you." I don't believe you. So that's the new Mary catchphrase for me anyway. So yeah, lots of stories. I hope you've all been enjoying Classic EastEnders as well on the Drama Channel in the UK. And we'll have another look back next week.
We will.
Well, now it's time for us to close BBC One down for tonight. A very good night on behalf of everybody here at the Television Centre.
I'm pregnant. That's what's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a fake pregnancy with Louise.
We did. Well, is it fake?
It has to be.
It's up in the air now.
I hope it's fake. I don't want Louise to be pregnant.
It makes the story a little bit more interesting, maybe.
Well, we just had Hayley pregnant. We don't know anyone else. And Kim.
You're just a hater to the pregnant.
Well, they're boring.
Wow.
They are boring. It traps a character into a storyline for like a whole year when they're pregnant. I don't like it. Look what happened to Kim. What did she do last year? Nothing.
Gave birth to a ecstatic
that
Phil
was on
Mitchell.
one episode at Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
So no, I hope she isn't pregnant. But yeah, they were trying to work out or get out of Phil where exactly Keanu is, because Sharon's on the clock.
She is.
On the Karen clock.
Karen keeps sending her messages with like a countdown.
Or staring at her.
Yeah, over the bar.
Like holding up a digital clock, like a timer.
Oh, like they do on a football match when they say extra time, 3 minutes.
But she got one city out of the equation from Phil, didn't she? Sharon, with her detective skills.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she was like, so, what's Barcelona like? And he was like, what do you mean? What about it? He's not there. Oh, okay. Yeah. Cross that off of her list.
Like a game of Cluedo.
Yeah. What's the temperature rate? She's trying her hardest. She's not very good at working out. So,
would you say the dish is tapas or sangria? No,
what time would it be? What time difference is it exactly? But Louise obviously had a plan of, I know how to get my dad to say. I'll say I'm pregnant.
Yes.
And he'll go off on one and phone him up.
Which he did. She knows how to manipulate her dad.
And then a photo got sent of him like beaten up.
Yeah.
Who sent it? Like, did Keanu send it? Like, this is what happened to me.
A selfie stick of him beaten up with his eyes closed.
Or has someone stolen his phone and taken a photo of it to send to Phil?
Well,
as a warning?
I suppose that might have been it. Yeah, he put it on his own phone as a warning and then sent it to his first contact, his only contact, Phil. His only friend, Phil or Sharon. Phil has sent Keanu out for a very, very strange reason. We learnt this week the reason why he's gone out there. And that's because he's just just making sure that everything's ticking along with the garage that he set up there, which is undercutting the rest of the Spanish garages. And there might be money laundering.
There must be, because that car that came over when it had money in all the wheels, remember? That must have been a car from Spain, I guess.
So how they're able to undercut that? Lidl is able to undercut Tesco because they buy in bulk more so than Tesco. So
they put £50 notes into the tyre.
They buy tyres in bulk to send money over to the sea.
And we also had Sharon did a phone call to Ben.
Yes,
slyly.
Just before Lofty knocked on the door.
So they're doing that. Is Ben working in one of these dodgy garages for Phil, do you think? Is that what's going on?
Oh, and put two and two together, but yeah, that makes good sense.
So I'm assuming when Phil comes, because Phil's gone now to help Keanu.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was an easy job and it's not an easy job. So is he going to come back with Keanu and Ben, do you think, in like 2 months?
No, I thought Ben was coming back with
Lola. I think they come back at the same time. I don't know if it's together.
Not together. All right.
Unless Lola's out there, she's doing the accounts.
Fudging the books.
Lex is on there. Learning her maths.
Using a calculator. Mum!
But they've planted the Ben seed with that phone call.
Good, I'm glad. They've reminded us that
exciting.
He exists.
But
Phil needs to learn how to make a sandwich. Because they were doorstops.
It's a Punk Mary one, that was.
It really was. They were chunky as heck. There was like one slice of ham and a bit of lettuce in there just for a bit of effect.
And like a whole loaf cut in half as a sandwich.
Yeah. He's an old-fashioned man. He likes to buy the loaf uncut. Yeah.
Rustic sandwich.
Yeah, why not? Do you reckon he has pickle with his ham and cheese?
Oh, yeah.
Spicy.
Unless Sharon's there, because then she's the spice.
Sprinkle some Sharon on my sandwich.
I must say, Sharon's looking very good for herself.
Yeah,
I noticed this week.
Looking lean, looking clean. Yeah.
New outfits, new hair.
Looking nice.
Yeah, looking very good. And we also have Karen, and Mitch sort of having like a will they, won't they kind of thing, because she's worried about Keanu.
Well, Karen's lying to everyone, saying that Keanu's fine and she's heard from him and so on. She's a bit concerned when she heard that someone was pregnant in the Mitchell house. She thought it was Sharon.
I know, that was so funny. That scene was brilliant.
Yeah.
With Phil, Karen, Louise, and Sharon, and she bursts in and she thinks that
there's
Sharon's
so much confusion all around, isn't there? Phil's confused because he doesn't really understand why Louise is needing to find out about Keanu.
And Karen looks at Sharon pregnant, and Sharon goes, "Don't be silly," and turns away. It's so
shakes
funny.
her head and mouths, "No,
not me.
No, not me."
God, I'm past it.
It would be cool if it was. Oh, imagine if both of them were pregnant.
Oh God, one of them might be Keegan's. Louise's might be Keegan's.
Who's the father? Phil or Keegan? Obviously, this is Sharon.
Phil, Keegan, or Keegan. Yeah. But it's all going on. But yeah, I don't know how they can keep this thing going, because Phil's now gone and Keanu's gone for a few months. So I don't know what's going to happen now. Whether they're going to rest it for a bit.
Well, they're going to go dress up as pirates and do a play for 2 months, and then come back and get
I
ready
meant
for the
Louise and Sharon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was a bit confused. Louise and Sharon.
Are they going to bond? Do you think? And become
I think
close?
they're going to bond
That's
big time.
Going to happen.
Yeah, because they've had a duvet day, which was interrupted by Mel, which again we will speak about after the game. But yeah, I think it's going to be very much Sharon and Louise kind of bond over this. They're both their loves for her father, but also Phil and
I just want the one I love back.
That was a good line. A lot of people said that was a bit cheesy, but I liked that. I thought, nice. I enjoyed it.
Love of her life.
Summed up the story quite nicely. That Sharon wants the love of her life back.
Yeah.
Which one is the love? Yeah.
We will find out. So going off now to play a game quickly, and then we'll be back to talk about Ice Queen Mel.
Ready for your 5 a day, Ben?
Always.
Martin Fowler has supplied yet another question for you to give 5 answers to in under 30 seconds. Many characters come and go through Albert Square over the years, but only a handful stand the test of time and stay living in Wolford for the long term. Martin would like to know, do you think that you could name 5 characters that have been in the soap for longer than 10 years, without a break, and without their faces changing? As in, someone else playing the character. Yeah,
of course I could.
Wait, there's more. You must name 5 characters that were introduced to the soap between 1985 and 2009. They are still listed as current characters today, and they should have never had a leaving storyline. but they can have left the programme with an unexplained absence and not been on screen for a period of time. They can also...
Phil Mitchell.
No, he's had a leaving storyline. They must also not have been played by more than one actor. Also, Ben, one more small rule. You cannot name a background character. So sadly, the following are only honourable mentions.
Trace.
1985, Tracy, played by Jane Slaughter. 1985, Winston, played by Ulrich Brown. And 2003, Marie Evans, played by Liz Sweet. Okay, does that all make sense?
So I can use anyone from the beginning to now?
No, if they've had a story where they've been written out. So if you went to the page about the character and it says that they were here for 2002 to 2010, but then left and then came back in 2012 to 2016, something like that. That's not counted.
So a character has been on the screen for 10 years
without leaving.
Oh, without leaving.
Without leaving.
Oh.
More than 10 years. And but they can have a short break. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they cannot have had a leaving storyline. They can't have had a storyline where it's explained why they're gone.
They're gone, right.
But they can not been on screen for a little while. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of criteria here.
So if a character is still talked about, then technically they're probably not have left. It all makes sense. Okay. So in 30 seconds, you need to name 5 characters that have been in EastEnders from 1985 to 2009 and are still current cast characters to this day. Okay? And your 30 seconds, just list characters and I'll soon tell you.
Yeah.
And your 30 seconds start now.
Denise.
Yes, Denise Fox, not 2006.
Patrick.
Yes, 2001.
Kim.
Yes, 2009.
Ian.
Ian Beale, 1985. One more to go.
Phil Mitchell.
No.
Sharon's left. Who else is this?
5 seconds.
Shirley Carter.
Yes, Shirley Carter joined in 2006. There you go. That's your 5. Ben, you got your 5 a day. You feel all filled up and ready and glowing to go?
I do.
Yeah. Let me just go through the answers. So, 1985, so 34 years ago, Ian Beale joined. 1998, 21 years ago, Billy Mitchell joined, played by Perry Fenwick.
Oh, he's been in it that long.
He has. 2001, 18 years ago, Patrick Truman, played by Rudolph Walter. 2006, 13 years ago, was Jay Brown, played by Jamie Brothwick.
Oh, yeah.
Shirley Carter, played by Linda Henry. Max Branning, played by Jake Wood. And Denise Fox.
He had a year gap.
He wasn't gone,
yeah, I
though.
know, it was a break.
He was, yeah. And Denise Fox, played by Diane Parrish. 2008, 11 years ago, Whitney Dean, played by Shona McGarthy.
She's done over 2,000 episodes.
Yeah, there we go. Not as many as Ian Beale, of course, or ones that preceded her. And, of course, the wonderful Amy Mitchell, played by Abigail Louise Knowles, has been in the soap. The actor hasn't changed for 11 years.
My God.
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah. So she's been in the soap.
She's the new Abby Branning.
And then Kim Fox Hubbard, I should give her a proper title, which is 2009. So she joined 10 years ago, played by Tamika Epson. So there you go. So there's not that many, actually, because a lot of characters leave and come back. And these are the ones that may have gone for a little while, but never really left our hearts. So I hope you guys got on as well as Ben this week at home. And this game was dedicated to Jennifer. Big shout out to Jennifer from our Facebook group, who messaged us to say that she loved our games, especially, Ben, Martin Fowler's 5 a Day, which is my game.
You're right.
So I'll be interested, Jennifer, if you're listening, how did you get along as well? So there was another successful round of Martin Fowler's 5 a Day.
How did you take your coffee?
I want to say the line, like my men, but I stopped myself. Do you remember that song?
Fat and doughy, like Mr. Bill.
Oh. How can you have a doughy coffee?
Kathy could do it for me.
What, a doughy coffee?
I believe in her skills.
You just said that she didn't have that many skills. Earlier on the
one
program...
of her skills
No.
doughy coffee.
You can't go back on yourself. Earlier you said she couldn't run a restaurant kitchen. She could only do a cafe, and all she's good to do for is buttering bread.
In a grotty cafe, you get a doughy coffee. So we are talking about Mel's storyline. So she's like heavily drinking still from last week when she was at the bonfire.
Like really heavily. There's like bottles lined up around the place.
Really bad.
Is she getting a Deliveroo to deliver all these foods and bottles of alcohol?
I've never really seen Mel drink before. It's not really something you see her do, really.
No,
is it?
no.
After all these stressful situations,
It's never she drinks wine. That seems to be the
yeah, but that's the
choice.
flirt with one of the Brannings or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's drinking. She's gone to see Hunter in prison, and she sort of said to him, "I only did it so I can help you from the outside."
Well, that's So she signed a confession as sorts to say basically that the
It was
whole
all
crime was
Hunter.
Hunter, which Hunter wanted her to do.
And the policewoman looked at her like a bit suspiciously, but
Which she pushed it big time. She said, and this is the paperwork for you to admit that your son, who will be locked up for life if you sign it, and probably destroyed, that you didn't do anything, but it was all your son. Your son. Your son.
She's a bit suspicious still. So she obviously thinks Mel has something to do it, but maybe it's just close the case. Finish early.
Well, Mel, let's just forget. He wants to start a rap career. Let him do it in prison. So Mel kind of just wants to help from the outside. So she's going to get the best solicitor. She's going to get the best guidance. She's going to talk to Jack, see if he knows any police friends who can help him in prison.
But she needs the money?
I
need the money!
I don't believe you. So she gets the bill from the solicitor. It's no Richie bill, so she doesn't have to remortgage the house in order to pay for the solicitor. But
£300 an hour.
It's enough. It's enough that she needs to rethink how she's going to pay for it. So step one in her plan is to down a mug of vodka, go into the cafe, knock over a cup of coffee, and then go to work. So that's where she starts.
So every day starts.
Yeah, why not?
If she was clever, she should have befriended Sharon, because Sharon paid for Richie's bills for the Carters.
Yeah, but they've never been close friends. And she was she wasn't even half cut. She was pretty much 7/8 cut. She was there.
She was trying to do her work, and Billy called Sharon like, "I think you need to come in."
Again, Billy concerned, and again Sharon said, "Thanks, Billy. You did the right thing." So that's why Billy is nice to Sharon, because Sharon gives her nice feedback.
Wasn't Mel great in these scenes though? Do you not think?
Well,
I know she was her
had a
ice
go.
queen, but like all the things she was saying were so cool. Like the things she said to Sharon in the club that, make me get out of here, and she put her feet on the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, how did Sharon get her out though? It was a bit weird. She stole the card machine and the printer and took it with her, and Mel was like chasing after her.
I
with
thought
her
it was a
laptop.
safe, but it wasn't a safe. It did look like a printer scanner thing.
Yeah, but
so
even
Mel
if it was-
couldn't do her account.
It was really weird, wasn't it?
I know.
I don't know.
Kathy butted her nose in.
She did. Mel was quick to remind her that she's hardly Mother of the Year.
No. Watch out, she might disappear again.
Yeah.
Everyone. No, I like this Mel. It's the feisty Mel.
Yeah, this is the Mel we remember, we know, and we love.
Told Sharon some home truths about her
Yeah.
unhappy. She said if you worked here, it might give you a point of existing.
Yeah, which is true, because Sharon doesn't. She basically called Sharon out and said, like, you wouldn't work here. You wouldn't do the late nights. And she went, I know how to run a club. And she's like, do you, Sharon?
Yeah. She ran Angie's Den quite successfully.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. And
There's been a few bottles of wine since then.
a few pairs of shoes. She likes to sit back and have the easy life now. She's got Louise to look after.
And Keanu.
She's got
that
duvet
takes
days.
up full-time job, Keanu.
Ooh, tell us about it. Yes, right. Exactly. So Mel is refusing to sign the club away now, and she says, unless you give me a better deal, I'm not selling it.
No.
I'm staying.
And we had some of the greatest Kathy scenes we've had in recent history.
Yeah.
She's there. She's taking up that matriarch role. I can feel it. It's happening. She came over for some advice and some help for Mel. She was quite kind, actually.
Even though Mel shouted her out in the middle of the square, she goes over, knocks on the door, made a whole lasagna for her. Take that, Ben, and her non-catering skills.
Yeah, I take it all back.
It was quite a big lasagna, and Mel ate the whole thing.
I thought that when she brought the thing back later.
It was like a family lasagna. Mel must
She had
be
a lot
hungry.
of vodka to soak up, to be fair.
Yeah, the patch will soak it up.
But I liked having Kathy there. It's like the Kathy that you wanted back, and she was there to be helpful. And Mel said, "Oh, if you want to do your Good Samaritans act, go somewhere else." Kathy used to be in the Samaritans, so that wasn't taken lightly.
No, you have to remember again. It's being written that Kathy is becoming the character that you remember Kathy as being. Not this kind of just someone who's just pushed to one side or a joke.
Just washes up and...
Yeah, she is. She sort of counsels people and she gives advice to people. And she takes anything that people say to her on the chin because she understands that, they're only saying out of... Yeah, she's salt of the earth. They're only saying it out of anger. But calm them down. Clean up their house. She cleaned Mel's house for her. Picked up the bottles.
And then Mel comes over. The one person that's actually been nice to Mel out of the whole of the square, because everyone's horrible to her, although she's horrible to everyone too. And then she gets this idea of stealing all of Ian's money somehow.
Yeah, well, she sees his bank account, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she sees that he's got quite a bit of money in there. And she reminds from something Kathy had said earlier about, you need to bring back
this isn't
your
the
old
Mel I
self.
knew.
Yeah.
She'd do anything for her kids.
Because that's it. Kathy was relating the Bobby story to Hunter going to prison. Quite similar, so fair enough. There's a relation there.
Do you know what the weird thing is? I was looking at EastEnders birthdays. Don't ask me why. Everyone's birthday on EastEnders I was looking up.
Yes, well.
But the weird thing is, Hunter and Bobby are like 4 months apart in age. I think how different they are as like characters. It's weird, isn't it?
But then don't forget, Bobby went to prison, 3 years ago?
2016, was it?
Yeah,
I think.
so he's probably grown up a lot in that time.
Yeah, but still, like thinking of Hunter and Bobby being like 3 months apart, they seem like Bobby seems so young, doesn't he?
Isn't Hunter played by an older actor?
Yeah, I think he must be. Yeah,
because he's only 15, isn't he?
Yeah,
and he's not 15, clearly.
No. So I found that funny on my ongoing adventures of.
You just got an obsession with people's ages and like to compare them with other people.
It's funny looking at them. The age of death on the square is around 35, by the way.
What, the average age of death? Goodness.
So watch out.
That's my age.
See you later then.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not going to step on that square anytime soon.
So yeah, this thing with Mel, and she was staring at photos of Ian and then staring at his bank account and says, "Oh yeah, old me's back."
Yeah,
so
you reminded me of one.
Is Ian going to get this away with him? Like, you know how he said, "I'm going to marry this woman again." Is this now going to happen?
I guess so. Mel is going to, as she said, show what she's capable of, and basically convince Ian to marry her. So she's got the money to pay for bankroll Hunter's.
Is that her answer to everything? The reason she married Ray was to get money.
Yeah, but don't forget, she manipulated Ian before when he cooked her that meal, so she could find. It was something she was finding something, wasn't she, in the house?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Kathy's necklace? Right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, because she was going to sell it. Yeah.
That's right. She was finding Kathy's necklace.
She's horrible, isn't she? Really, Mel.
Yeah.
Horrible. Plus, Kathy's the only one that's been nice to her, and now she comes round and snoops through all of her banking details.
The only important person to Mel is Mel,
or Hunter.
Well, and
who's
Hunter.
more important, Mel or Hunter to Mel? I wonder.
No,
Mel.
Hunter is more important to Mel, but Mel sees that Hunter is basically.
She can't help him.
She can't help him, and also Hunter is a bit mum obsessed, isn't he? That's a bit worrying too.
But yeah, have to see where this thing. I don't really want a Ian and Mel romance, but I'm assuming this is where it's going to go.
Looks likely.
£78,000 will be Mel's
for a solicitor. Then she can afford Richie. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
So we're going to end the week with some comments and questions and things from all of you guys out there.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So sadly, no time for Who Won the Week this week, but we do have time, of course, to have a bit of a look back on who won the week's previous years.
Yes,
with Ben.
We've got our ongoing thread on our Facebook group. So if you go on, find us on Facebook, and there's a thread which you can request a year, and I'll go back and watch a whole week's worth of EastEnders for 3 whole years.
Yeah, just find it on Facebook by looking EastEnders Weekly Podcast, and it's our group.
Yes, so the first one was 1990. So because it's birthday week, I tried to find all the ones closest to the birthday anniversaries of the years that you requested. So 1990 we have the 20th of Feb. And guess what?
What?
This is the first ever appearance of Phil Mitchell. 20th of Feb 1990. He's in a car on the phone to Grant.
1990?
Yeah.
I thought it was 92.
Yeah. He goes, "I'm here. You wouldn't believe this place I found. It's a gold mine." That's his That's
gold mine? Yeah. What was he planning?
Open up a car lot.
That's his gold mine, is it? What, is he going to undercut the locals?
I guess so. It was also Stephen Bill's christening this day. And so obviously Simon Wicks knows that he's the dad, but no one knows everyone thinks he's the uncle. So he's getting drunk and very upset.
Every loser wins, Ben.
Yeah. Sharon, Simon and Michelle are godparents to Stephen. None of them went to his funeral.
Oh, don't talk about Michelle. I forgot to mention this just quickly. Classic EastEnders. I am done with Michelle. Poor old Lofty.
Michelle knows about Stephen and Simon, but she's keeping it hush.
She loves secrets, doesn't she?
The other year that I had was 1999. And we're on the 15th of February, and this is the episode where Saskia gets killed by Steve at E20.
Oh, with the ashtray?
Yeah.
God, you can still smoke inside.
Mel's in there talking. She's got a very high-pitched young voice, Mel. And Saskia bundles herself in drunk, and says that her and Steve are sleeping together, so Mel gets upset and storms out, as Mel does.
Oh, sorry, this was 1999?
Yep.
So this was before she started dating Ian, or had she dated Ian? And
no,
then...
she marries Ian in 2000.
Yeah, the millennial one, yeah.
So yeah, it's the episode, that's a big storyline, isn't it, where Saskia's killed and Matthew tries to help, and it all goes off from there, and Steve blames Matthew and tries to get him done.
Another character that could come back, maybe after Mel.
Robbie needs a best friend back. He was best friends with Robbie, he was.
Was he?
Robbie was in E20, and he came on to Saskia, but she turned him down.
She doesn't know what she's missing. What a hot stuff.
And the other suggestion we had was 2007, which was the 19th of February, and this was a really boring episode.
Oh dear.
I did watch it, and one thing that stood out for me, it was 1 year since Kathy had died, and at 1 year and a day. And Ben was being abused by Stella, and he didn't like it, and that was. Oh,
how could you say this was boring?
The actual
Stella
episode
story
was really boring. So then I thought, hold on a minute, Kathy. So I went back a year to 2006. So sorry, whoever suggested 2007, but you're off. You're out.
Yeah.
So I went to the 20th of Feb 2006, and it's the episode. Ian is meant to have a trip to Africa to see Gavin and... about to say Gavin and Stacey then. Gavin and Kathy. And Kathy has commanded Ian to record a home video of all her friends at the square.
Right.
So he interviews Jim and Dot and Pat, and she's never met Jane, and he wants to video Jane, but Dot says to her, Kathy's very judgmental. She's never approved of any of Ian's wives. So this gets Jane really worried.
For good reason, let's just say.
So Jane doesn't want to be on camera. And then in the evening, the phone rings, and she goes, you know what, Ian? Let me pick it up. I'll speak to Kathy, and we'll have a little chat and get to know each other. So it's all happy.
Yeah.
And then she comes in and says, Ian, Kathy's dead. So yeah, it was a very good episode, and the Duff was so good. I watched the next episode as well, even though I know Kathy's not dead.
Wow.
But yeah, but it's funny because they say Gavin is in hospital in critical condition, but Kathy died straight away. The car went into the driver's side.
Right.
So that doesn't really make sense because
no, that doesn't
they
add up.
both are meant to have died on the site, and that's why they could fake their deaths.
That's right. It was insurance, wasn't it?
So, but Ben was okay, and that's obviously the storyline that led to
bringing Ben onto the square.
But, yeah, I can't believe they killed Kathy off screen like that. But the episode was really good because watching the home video he was making and everyone was being interviewed, it was really funny and it was really good.
I mean, there was a happy ending in the end, wasn't there?
It was because our cat's back.
Our cat's back, and she's got storylines. Finally.
Yes.
Hey, should we go back to what we spoke about at the beginning of the show, about everyone's earliest memory of the show? I've got a couple.
Makes me feel all warm inside.
That's fuzzy. I've got one from Mr. Captain Dr. Nonsense. And he said, I first saw the show a few years ago. They play old episodes on PBS in America. The first storyline I saw was Darren figuring out Keith Miller couldn't read. I loved the show immediately because they all look so normal. It's unlike TV in America in that respect. I've since tried to watch as many episodes as possible from all eras.
Yeah, that is one of the good things about EastEnders. Everyone looks normal, don't they?
And it's fun.
They're not all Hollyoaks.
No, exactly. It's really gritty and, well...
Apart from Habiba. She's ex-Hollyoaks.
And it's fun to look at old eras as well, like...
oh, yeah.
Captain
I spent
Dr.
hours
Nonsense.
doing it. I watched the whole 2015 Live Week this week as well.
I was with you, Ben.
I got carried away.
I know. It was a lot of fun.
It was. We've got a message from Genio1988. They say, I remember watching the Omnibus on a Sunday when I was young in the 90s, but I would change the channel quickly if I heard my dad coming because he thought it was a load of rubbish and I shouldn't be watching it, even though he watched Coronation Street. I remember being in love with Jamie and Sonia's romance. Heartbreaking when he died.
Jamie's death was very sad.
Yeah, he's on doctors now, it's fine.
Killed by Martin. We've got another one from Rob Innes. It says, I've got this random memory of two women snogging in the middle of the market. I think two characters rushed off of the calf. Pretty sure one of them was Natalie, and watched them in shock. Random, but hey, no idea who the two women were though. We had a little look. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think these are two women that I saw. Remember last week when I said Mel used to have lots of friends and she had loads of girls around her house and loads of friends, and Natalie, and there was a woman with a weird haircut. I think that was one of them.
Oh, so
her weird 90s haircut.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I couldn't find anything. Obviously wasn't looking hard enough.
No, come on. There's only 35 years to look through. We have King Capter, who says, first time I ever watched it was in religious studies class. We were talking about euthanasia and the teacher showed us the Ethel's last scene. I didn't really get into it until the Christian and Saeed storyline though, so I've been watching for about 10 years.
Oh, two things to point out. One, Christian Saeed storyline is amazing, and obviously they didn't show that in RE class. And two, showing EastEnders in RE class.
How weird is that?
I don't remember anything like
Wish
that.
I watched it in RE.
We were watching about pestilence and
I can't
cockroaches coming down and killing us.
I blanked it.
I don't blame you. Irish Terence on Twitter has said, my earliest memory of EastEnders is it being on. I was born in 1985, but the earliest big story I remember is Phil finding out about Sharon and Grant from the cassette in which Sharon and Michelle are talking. I love that episode.
There'll be another one of them this year.
Yeah, yes, when Michelle's doing the interview with Sharon and it's in all the tapes and he puts it in the tape deck and Grant hears it and then plays it in front of the whole pub during Phil and Kathy's wedding. It's a fantastic episode. Again, dig it out if you can find it.
It's very good. And just one more on the memories. We have T. Traynor, who says, my earliest memory was the long week of Johnny Allen's special in March 2006. First Christmas was in 2006, was when Pauline dies. So yes, very upsetting year. That's when the ratings were up, down,
all over the place.
Yeah.
Like
Get Johnny Allen Week, that's what it was called.
Was it? I'm not a huge fan of the kind of gangster stories. I think I've said that before. But
that's Ruby's End.
It was. Well, not her demise,
No.
just that she left. So we asked that question on our Facebook group. On Twitter this week, we asked any early guesses at what the Ahmeds sisters' secret is. We've had a few replies from that as well. Well, at E.E. Wolford said she's probably got a child. So perhaps there's a child somewhere. At All of Me Hates You says, since they're very intent on making money, I'd say they're in debt. At Andy Gibson TV, simply put a GIF on showing him pressing his lips together. So I think he knows more than he's letting on.
Nah, he's bluffing.
Is he?
He ain't got a clue.
Bluffing for his muffin. At The Vic is Cursed says, secretly Ronnie and Roxy in disguise. Good thing.
It could be.
And at Radiation Gloves has put their secret One Direction fans. So again, thank you so much for all your comments on Twitter. You can find us at EastEnders Week on Twitter. And you can also find us on Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast. And as I mentioned, we have a Facebook group, which you can simply find by putting in EastEnders Weekly Podcast. Do you have a few tweets or messages that we've had randomly about the show this week?
Yes, Matt Cherry asks, was that the first time we got Julie's theme back to back? And yes, it was. We can, with our ongoing series, we can confirm, yes, that is correct.
It certainly was. And it was nice, actually. And it was well founded, too. Both episodes deserved that back-to-back duff.
And at Nicola Annex says, do you know who the tribute was for at the end of the episode? And that was Anne Slater.
Yeah, see, that was a tricky one because we weren't entirely sure.
We figured it out though.
We did. A bit of delving.
Yeah, she was a cast member who'd been on it she's like a long-term cast member. Not a cast member, a crew member, long-term crew member. And little fun fact, the Slater family were named after her.
Yeah. She was very well loved in the production crew.
Yes, so that's who she is.
So yeah, that in memory at the end of Tuesday's episode was the who had sadly died. And one last tweet, which came earlier as we were recording, which I absolutely adored, was from at Scotty Jacks, and he said, "Well done, Sonia and Bex, making everyone close their curtains when it's dark outside. You really do have the power." I mean, yes.
Dot the second, and Bex is Dot the third.
But he's quite right. Most people do draw their curtains. At night, so he's got
especially in dodgy London, dodgy Wolford.
Yeah, it's not so dodgy anymore. Not like it was in 1987, certainly. So thanks everyone for listening, and that was it. That's the end of the second term of John York on EastEnders.
It was. We now have Kate Oates on the credits, and new era, and we're really excited to see what she does.
You took the words right out of my mouth.